Hey y'all, it's been a little bit, but sorry for not making a video for so long, but I've been trying to get my life together, really focus on myself. I don't want to feel like I'm just preaching, I'm trying to practice what I preach and try to give y'all my own experiences with the lessons I've learned. That's really what I've been trying to do, is just give y'all my experiences and my thoughts on lessons, and to try to just prove that we're not alone. But the reason why I haven't really been making any videos lately aside from that is because the last week and a half, on the 19th, my twin brother passed away. And we had a rocky relationship coming up, but we were always inseparable. We were best friends, and he meant everything to me. And waiting on the report to see how he died, but I think he died in his sleep, where his breathing got to him. And it's tough, trying to get through the days. I just spent a week out of work for bereavement, to deal with that loss, and to have to make some phone calls and get done paperwork for, the cremation and stuff. And, I've been trying to tell everyone that I'm okay and that he'll be okay, that he's watching over us, which I believe is the wholehearted truth. But, I'm okay, and I'm also not okay. I'm okay because I know that when he died, he wasn't suffering, or he wasn't suicidal anymore. He was happy to be around his family, around his people. He was a lot happier than I remember him being. He was the happiest I'd seen him in a very long time. He suffered a lot. He'd been through a lot. When he loved deeply. He wasn't afraid to be vulnerable with you. And when he needed therapy or something, he wasn't afraid to get it, even if he was afraid, he never hesitated. Me, on the other hand, I like to work my problems out on my own. I don't really I believe therapy works. I just feel like I personally prefer going through my own issues, so that way if I ever do bridge that way to where I have to cross that bridge to where I do have a therapist, I know a lot of what's wrong. I just want to get the actions done. I'm not trying to sit here and talk all day and feel worse about a situation that I don't need to feel any worse about. I'd rather distract myself and get to work, keep moving. I've been feeling this way about his passing, and my family's been taking it real rough, and me and his mutual best friends have been taking it rough, and we've all just been trying to figure out our own way of dealing with it. And I've been trying to, I've shed the least tears, and I was the closest to him, because I'm trying to be strong for everyone, trying to be the strong one. Also, I don't want, because I know he's always been a person where he don't like seeing me cry. So I've been trying not to cry, I think I've only shed tears a couple of times, if that. Once, and on the first day I found out, and then just maybe another time when I'm thinking of him real closely, but that's it. And I miss him. I think I mentioned this already, but he was my best friend. He was, I didn't always talk to him, but he always made sure he called me every day. And I tried my hardest to answer that phone, and if he had a worry, I wouldn't want to hear it. I'd still hear him out, but it worries me as his brother to hear that he has things to, and I'm like, I'm at work, but I always heard him out, and I try to help him through it. He also never hesitated to, whenever he was happy, I was the first one to know. He tells me that, he always told me that he looked up to me, and I'm wondering, why do you look up to me? Because we both looked up to our big brother, who kind of uses it the same way, I'm just a dude, And in a lot of ways, I also looked up to him. I also looked up to my twin brother, and I was really going to have y'all meet him someday. Like, I was going to show y'all, bring him on very soon, and I was going to show y'all who he was and show you who he is. And I'm blessed to be able to have a smile at the end of all this, though, because before the last time I seen him before he passed, he came to give me back my card because I let him, borrow it for the night. He was supposed to give it back to me that night, but it was fine. And then the last words we said to each other were, I love you, gave each other a big hug like we always do, and told each other, be safe, man, and stay well, keep in contact. And then I don't think I heard from him for the rest of the day, or I think I might have, but either way, it's not the same without him here. And it was easy to distract myself until my big brother's like, yo, we got business to take care of. Make sure our brother is looked out for. Now that he's passed away, we still got to look out for him and take care of business. And it's a very hard thing to feel like, all right, I just had to deal with getting the news. I was thinking I could just distract myself, and then boom, like I wouldn't have to worry about this no more. Like, it's done. Like, but there's always business to take care of. There's always business that you got to do, and try to like finalize everything, make sure that, see if he's going to be, have a funeral, he's going to be cremated, my brother's going to be cremated. So, man, I'm not alone though. He was loved by so many people, He didn't smile much, but whenever he did, it was something that you paid attention to. It was something like looking at the stars, because you knew once you see it, it's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing that you want to cherish, because he'd been through a lot, and he was just starting to get himself together and get his life together and try to work towards his GED. He was dressing nice all the time, kept in line with his haircut, his hygiene, and he wasn't really like as depressed anymore. And he would be turning 22 this August. I won't know what it's like to hear his voice anymore unless I find some old recordings. I have a bunch of pictures of him. I just want to be able to hug him again. I remember the first few days of me hearing this news and trying to deal with the fact that, oh, my brother's gone. I just kept going to sleep, trying to wake up in the next morning like, yo, this is all going to be some crazy nightmare. It's all going to be a crazy nightmare, and it's going to be it. It's just going to be some big nightmare. And he'll come crawling, he'll come poking his head out of nowhere, calling me out of nowhere. And I get to hear his voice and be like, yo, well, you wouldn't believe what was going on in the nightmare I had, but like reality is really setting in now after a little while, and I don't want it to, but I guess that's natural with the grief. And I spent a little bit of time preparing myself for his departure from this plane of existence, because there was a time where he was still suicidal and still going through all this stuff, and I prepared myself for the day where, God forbid, I'd get that phone call. But sorry to get something on my mind. But before you lose anyone, man, anyone in your family, anyone close to you, please, if you made it this far, let them know how much you love them. Because time is ultimately fleeting for human beings. And our time with others can be even shorter. Tell people how much you love them, because you don't want to leave any regrets on the table. So far, my only regret is, even though I couldn't because we live apart, he had asked if he could spend the night with us, with me and my best friend, and we didn't know if that was going to be fine. So we didn't let him. But then it's like, maybe if he stayed the night, maybe we would have caught him up on his breathing and like, yo, get up, man. And maybe he'd still be here. Maybe. And I feel like it's my job to watch over him. It's my job to I feel like my job's supposed to be to protect him and watch over him, and I didn't get the opportunity to do that. So, looks like God called him home early. Hopefully, he'll be with a lot of our other relatives that passed. But, from the words of a great song that I really try not to listen to for the sake of actually bursting into tears, because we were always afraid of the one day where one twin goes and then that song's gonna hit too hard. But lately, I've just, every day it's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. And I can't remember the last lyric, but I'll tell you about it when I see you again. I needed the last week and a half to grieve and try to celebrate them, live, enjoy my days to the best of my ability. And I have. But not a day has went by where I don't think about my twin brother, man. It feels like it's too soon. Much too soon. And I'm waiting to see the cause of death. So, I'm not looking for pity. I'm not looking for anything. This is why I've been off, and I figured I'd take this time to explain grief from my point of view, as I don't know if anyone, for those who are not superhero fans, there was a line in the show called WandaVision, superhero show, where one of the characters said, what is grief if not love persevering, right? And that's a beautiful way to put grief, because in that grief, I've seen so many people grieve over him, and it's been nothing but love for him. And it makes me realize how loved he was, and hopefully he can see that as someone who someone who didn't believe he was worthy of the love, and he didn't think he was loved as much as he is. I hope he can see that what he thought was wrong, and that he was loved immensely and perpetually. Will be, and his name will live on and will carry on for the rest of time. And I'll make sure that no one forgets or goes without knowing who he is. All I can say to him is rest in peace or rest in power. And if any of you wonderful people have anybody that you're grieving over or have grieved over, or like, I finally understand what it's like to have someone close to you leave this world. It feels like all of a sudden you were just talking to them, and now all of a sudden they're gone. And for those of you who haven't been through that yet, it's going to be painful when it hits. I mean, you might not even initially feel it, but it's like that's what I'm going through. Didn't initially feel the grief, but I'm feeling it more over time. And I'm keeping it level-headed for my family. I'm keeping it level-headed because I don't want to wake up and be a totally different person from the person that I am today. So I'm trying to keep myself stable, keep myself right, and keep myself the person I've always known I am, and the person that I know I can be. Because I'm not going to let this thing break me or change me. If anything, I'll let it transform me in the healthiest way possible. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. That's why I've been off YouTube. Just want to talk about grief and my brother and what he means to me. So, yeah. Much love, y'all. I'll be seeing you on the next one.